Hello everyone, it's me Derek from the VGM Lounge. And I'm joined here with two people this time.
Yeah, here's your normal guy, Matt.
And also we have my brother, Brandon is in here with us.
Hello there.
So today we've got you the DuckTales Moon theme, probably one of the most well-known songs from this game. Because today, where are we, Matt?
Well, today we're going to be traveling into the vastness of space.
Yes, indeed. Brandon, this was actually your suggestion for an episode. What do you think this episode's going to sound like?
Well, I figured you started off in the water, went up to the mountain, and then into the sky, so you just got to keep going higher from there. I think sky song, or space songs in general, can be really mysterious, or they can be a little bit dreadful. There's always a little bit of mystery with each space song.
Yeah, and they always have a lot of them have a kind of, I mean, it sounds cliche, but almost like an alien quality. Like they're kind of just mysterious.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to space, I mean, one of the first things that's usually going to hit people's minds is, thinking of, like aliens and things like that. So
yeah,
a lot of the sci-fi will come out in space themes.
Yeah, or like the adventureness of space travel. So the first song was the DuckTales Moon theme, composed by Yoshihiro Sakaguchi. Now, I think all of us had this song on our list, and Brandon, why was this one of the songs that came to your mind?
Well, to me, it's just the quintessential space song. I think everybody who's heard, old video game music goes to this, or like, those old Master Blaster games like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is one of those songs that, like, if you pull up a top 20, top 50 best video game songs, I think everyone has this on the list somewhere. It's just a great tune. How about you, Matt? What are your thoughts on this one?
It's a fun tune. I mean, you got two things going for it right now. I mean, it's like the composition's great, and two, it's DuckTales. I mean.
For the NES.
Up, growing up, if you didn't watch DuckTales at least like once or so, like where were you?
Right. And I think I love this song just because it's so like it's both happy and like peppy and adventurousness and just like cheerful all at the same time.
I was gonna say it really has that lighthearted energy that you would expect from like a DuckTales or a Disney game.
Oh yeah.
The Nintendo era.
Yeah, and I'll admit I can't name like the rhythm to another DuckTales song just because anytime I think of the game DuckTales, like it's the Moon. The Moon theme is the first song that comes to my brain. So I believe I'll be starting this one. And me, Matt, and Brandon are all going to take an equal turn on this, so probably do around 5 songs each, as opposed to how me and Matt normally do it. I think I'm going to go with one that goes kind of obvious to me. Now, everyone knows Mario 64 music, like the classic Dire Dire Docks, and if you have a Wii, then you probably were really looking forward to Mario Galaxy when it came out, which was basically Mario 64, but what if it was in space?
Yeah.
Now, Matt and Brandon, did either of you play much of Galaxy?
I never owned a Wii, so no.
Fair.
Played almost none of it. I think really after Mario 64, I didn't play too many Mario games up until getting Mario Maker on the Switch.
Mm-hmm. It is actually a lot of fun. It was definitely interesting to get used to, like, the wraparound gravity effects of some of the worlds. But whereas Mario 64 took you into paintings and they all had, like, the water level, the lava stage, etc., Mario Galaxy, each quote-unquote painting or level was blank galaxy. And they usually only had 3 stars each, but that gave them the ability to make, like, a bunch of different variety. So pretty much any galaxy fits, since this is a space episode and, all of these different worlds and galaxies were their own level, but the one I picked was the Space Junk Galaxy, which is basically, it's a hodgepodge of, like, pieces of metal and, space junk.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting level, and the music here is really really tranquil, and it kind of reminds me of like because the world itself is like almost like a wreckage, and the music I think is composed like not the hectic part of the wreckage, but like the after effects, so just like you're floating in space and there's like debris everywhere, and it's just weirdly peaceful. I think you'll see what I mean. But this is the Space Junk Galaxy from Mario Galaxy, composed by Mahito Yakoto. I want to hear your opinion on that in particular first, Brennan. What were you thinking about that song?
I liked it. It definitely had a Dire Docks feel almost, like
Yeah,
the callback to the old Mario 64. I
yeah,
like the ambient, I like the ambiance to it. Definitely had a peaceful feel to it.
yeah. In the same way that Dire Docks kind of feels like you're the lone scuba person in a shipwreck. This kind of feels like you're just you know a salvager in a scrapyard floating through the space, and it's just no enemies, just very peaceful.
Yeah, just collecting your scrap or doing your mining.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's a song that captures that nice tranquility of space.
Solitude, definitely a feeling of solitude in the song.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's both peaceful, but also it definitely feels like melancholy and kind of sad.
Which I mean is definitely probably like a feeling. I mean, think about being like on the one of the guys on the space station. I mean, you're gonna like enjoy what you're doing, but at the same time you're gonna have that feeling of just like man, like I miss home.
Yeah, the longing, like the wanting, to see some other creatures out here. I love the instrumentation, how it's just like basically a piano and that little whistle noise in there. The piano's really pretty
Yeah,
in the
the little-
song.
It is the little whistle noise definitely fit into like that alien-y based thing that we were talking about earlier.
And I love this little doo doo doo. And then it goes to those weird little wobbles, the wah wah wah. This is the part where it really feels that alien-y. I just really enjoy this song. So when you propose the
this
space
is definitely
theme,
a very good. comparison to, like we said already, the Dire Dire Docks. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like they're like side by side.
Hmm. This is just one of the first things that came to mind when you said space. I was like, Galaxy has a lot of really good music, but this one in particular just really conveys space, like, perfectly to me. Matt, do you want to go next, or do you want Brandon to go next?
Well, you know, it's Brandon came up with a theme, so let's have him go next.
All right, Brandon, do you have a song that that particularly follows that, or something a little bit different?
Let me see. I've got one in mind. So for my first track, I'm choosing a game called Starbound. It's on the PC.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually very similar in theme to Terraria, has a similar art style, and it's about exploration, going to different things, but rather than having different biomes, it's typically you visit different planets, and there'll be an ice planet, or there'll be a foresty planet.
Kind of the original idea of No Man's Sky, but more in like a scaled down form, I'm guessing.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, it is procedurally generated planets, so there's that element to it where you can just travel the galaxy and visit different places. But really, really good spacey soundtrack to it. I went back and forth on about 3 or 4 different songs from it.
See, I haven't played this myself, but I definitely remember hearing people talking about it and telling and saying the soundtrack's really good. So
I had about 3 or 4 songs I was really deliberating on. Ultimately, the one that I chose is this song. The title is "Vast Immortal Suns," and the composer is Curtis Schweitzer.
Sounds
That's
like
a hell of a title.
I was gonna say that sounds like a metal album right there. It's an intense name. All right, let's hear what Vast Immortal Sun sounds like. First off, I want to say that was really pretty.
Very much so. I
Uh,
I'll be honest, like I actually have never heard the game until just now.
I mean, hey, I haven't really heard any of the music from it, and at first I was really enjoying like the kind of chanting feel, the chanting in the beginning. It sounded very otherworldly, and then as soon as like about 2 minutes in, it hits like a really sudden like apex to the song, and I was really enjoying that part too.
I really like the building kind of orchestral feel to it.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. My words were escaping me. Um, it's got a really nice just build up to that 2 minute mark where it hits that like sudden thing where the music starts getting really not necessarily intense, but just like it reaches like the climax to the build up, and it's very satisfying.
The crescendo.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, it very much fits because, like you said, Brendan, it's kind of like a Terraria version of like No Man's Sky esque. So it's about like the exploration, and that's the feel that I got from it is like it's a good exploration adventure.
Yeah, to me it says like hopefulness and discovery and all those similar themes.
Yeah. Yeah. This is that part with the kind of chant in the beginning. I really like this because it kind of gives me that feeling of like you just landed on some new fantastic world that you have like no idea what's going to be out there. And I like that drum kick in too. I like how it just keeps
Yeah,
adding like different instruments.
Yeah, I can see it. It's like yeah, like you said, you just land on the planet, and then like it's you're coming out of the ship, and then it's like over the horizon, like like the sun or whatever
Hmm.
is the light source for the planet. Then just coming up over the horizon, and it's just
Yeah, I get a feeling of like you get out of the ship and you go over a hill and you suddenly like see this world before you.
the awe and wonder.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Wonder.
It's very, and it's also much like the Space Junk Galaxy. It's very calming. It's very tranquil.
It is. But I'm gonna have to break this tranquility.
Oh yeah, what do you got for us next?
Well, this song comes to us. It's actually got a couple different composers, but a composer that is well known for it for when it originally happened, or when it originally came out, was by the name of Jerry Goldsmith, and I'm just gonna give him an honorable mention for being the mastermind behind the original soundtrack. Um, but for the game, it comes to us from Christian Henson, Joe Henson, and Alexis Smith. This is the game Alien Isolation.
Okay, I haven't. This is another one I haven't played. Probably a lot of these games are going to be ones I haven't actually played.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, sometimes you can hear the soundtrack before you actually experience the game or a movie of
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Oh, what?
Well, I was gonna say that the space theme isn't something that they often delve into when you're playing like an RPG, for instance, unless you're playing like a Xenogears or Xenosaga.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
there, I think we'll see a lot more of a variety in genres.
Yeah, that is very true. RPGs are kind of my personal expertise, but I think we're gonna have some.
Typically, they stick to the land that they're on.
Yeah, generally. Well, we'll see about that.
Typically.
We'll see about that. But what song from Alien Isolation do you have for us, Matt?
So the song that I picked was probably one of the first ones you hear, other than the title and main menu, is called Sevastopol Station, and it is the space station that you come up to as Amanda Ripley, Ellen Ripley's daughter,
Okay.
to get some answers. So the game basically takes place storyline wise in between Alien and Alien.
Yeah, and I think we all know how that turns out, but let's hear how the song plays out.
Get ready.
That was short and not so sweet. Very creepy, Matt.
Yeah, no, it's a short looped song, but I mean, when it comes up in game, I mean, it's you hear it's just for that moment of like you're coming up to the station, and it's to help set up, the feeling that you're of like this, like oh, something doesn't seem right. No one is responding.
I would say, yeah, if I was playing that game, especially in a dark room, I would certainly be thoroughly creeped out.
Yeah, that's why playing this game, I'm still playing through it. It's actually my wife's game,
Hmm.
but her anxiety gets too bad, and so I have to play it, and she just watches me.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. I mean, it's not like this is creepy at all, right?
No, and I love the subtle use of piano.
Yeah, yeah. It's just those like creepy, creepy strings, and then like just the gentle little piano touches. How about you, Brandon? How you feeling on this one?
I really like the feeling of dread, kind of.
Yeah, yeah,
It reminds me a lot of some songs from early Resident Evil games, where like you're in the mansion and it's just like a driving piano tune.
that's pretty
Sets
much
you,
that's pretty much exactly
just
the feeling I got.
yeah.
Yeah, I was certainly getting a Resident Evil. I mean, I think for an obvious reason that's kind of the feeling they were going for, but just just those creepy, the screeching like strings, the just a little bit of piano, like that kind of I don't want to go around the corner feeling.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I like about survival horror games is the music is immensely important with trying to come across like your particular feeling in a certain room. Like, is the music going to be soft? Is it gonna catch you off guard? Is it gonna ease up on you? Like, are you gonna be like, okay, well, I think I can take a break over here, and then there's like the sudden jump scare, kind of just like quick pull of the strings kind of thing that happens.
Yeah, are you gonna hear the safe room music?
I like to feel like that the song that's playing in any given situation is another character in the scene. And in this sense, I think the creepiness of the song is almost taking the role of the monster. It's basically, is it around the corner?
Yeah,
That's a good point. I like that. I like that view.
yeah, I like thinking about it like that. Like, what is this music conveying? Where is this creature? What is going to happen? So thank you for that, Matt. That was definitely a different way of taking this.
That's what I'm here to try and do.
Now, interestingly enough, pretty much every song I have is the opposite direction. Rather, it's another interesting way of taking this. But I think I'm going to bounce off of what you said earlier about how RPGs don't often take you to another world, and I'm going to play. Well, one big shout out to our good friend Michael. Final Fantasy IV is his favorite, and I think he'd be a little sore with me if I didn't point out the fact that in Final Fantasy IV you actually go to the moon.
Is it the real moon?
So there's actually quite a few. I was talking with Brandon about this exact song, and there's quite a few different ways you can go when you go Final Fantasy and the Moon. At least Final Fantasy IV. There's a lot of different space or lunar themed songs. In particular, yeah, there's quite a few. The Moon is actually a decent chunk of the set piece in the latter part of the game. And I was gonna play the Lunar Whale, which is it's an airship that you get that flies you to the moon. But I'm actually going to play the song that me and Brandon were talking about, the actual theme of the moon. Originally, neither one of us were wanting to play this just because it's a very weird and kind of just different. And I think that's the reason I'm gonna play it.
It's goofy.
It's very goofy, and you'll see what we're talking about. But this is Final Fantasy IV: The Moon, or Another Moon. And this is composed by Nobuo Uematsu. So yeah, there we go. It's as Brandon said, it's very goofy.
Yeah, with the the trumpet kind of honky sound.
Yeah, it's just weird. But I think that's the reason I like it. Is because the brunt of Final Fantasy IV, you're on the mainland, and then eventually you go underground, and you're kind of in the planet's core almost. It feels like at times, and then that's where I would say maybe 4/5 of the game takes place, or even more than that. And then suddenly, you're on the moon, and the song plays, and it's so weird. It's just like, it really conveys that, like, you are not on the same planet anymore. You are somewhere new. You are on the moon. And that's why I really like it.
In particular, I really like the driving timpani drum in the back, the real heavy beats that are almost like a heartbeat. It's kind of like the beat of the driving beat of the song.
Yeah. It's so interestingly composed. I mean, Nobuo Uematsu is, I think many people would call him prolific in the work he does. And like you were saying, that it's got like a heartbeat almost, like you feel like you are like suddenly on this planet, and like it's so alien.
So for me, there's like 3 different tiers with this. So the driving beat of those drums, that's the fear a little bit. The strings come in with a little bit of the mystery, and then the honkies bring in like the alien-esque just strangeness of the place.
Yeah,
it's just straight up goofing.
It is, and it's interesting because like the enemies you run into, like they're like giant like amoebas and stuff. You're like, this isn't goblins anymore. Like, I think the whole set piece is just so interesting because it's like you said, most RPGs you're on the same planet, and then here you're straight up on the moon. So it's just interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, with most RPGs, it's just like, all right, here you are in the town. Now here's the jungle.
Yeah.
But this one, like you said, is just like, all right, here you are going from town to town to castle. Now go into the lava pit. All right, that's enough of the lava pit. Go to the moon.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
go to space.
Go to space. and as soon as the song plays, you're just like, this is weird. This place is weird.
Why am I here now?
So yeah, I thought, I couldn't have played a space episode with pointing out just how weird Final Fantasy IV is and taking you to the moon, and that track is just so unique.
You gotta go there to meet Space Gandalf.
The man who, when he dies, becomes a beard. He is beard.
He's a beard puddle.
Oh
He
man,
melted, except for his beard.
he, his beard remained because it is too strong. All right, Brennan, but where are you taking us next?
Well, I kind of liked that rhythm, so I'm gonna keep it a little low and slow. I'm thinking I'm going to the Star Fox universe for this one. The
Okay.
game is
Nice.
the game is Star Fox Assault, which came out on the GameCube, and I never actually played it myself. That or the one that came after it, Star Fox Zero. But when I was going through a list of all the Star Fox games, that Assault has a stellar soundtrack, so I had to include one song from it.
Yeah, you and me were talking about this, and before the thing started, and I was gonna go through Star Fox, but you were exploring the soundtracks for it, so I didn't want to double dip. But I'm really interested in hearing the one you picked out.
Yeah, I chose to move away from like your standard battle theme because there's some really good classic ones like Corneria or Zone S that are great. The
Yeah,
one I chose is actually the mission briefing song, so it typically will play before each mission that you do. The composer to this one is two composers, Yoshie Arakawa and Yoshinori Kawamoto. And
okay.
the song is Mission Briefing from Star Fox Assault.
Well, for me, I'm actually a little sad I never actually got to play Starbucks Assault myself. What I like about this particular pick is, like Brendan said, it's not a battle theme, so there's not like a lot of like the hectic stuff going to it. I don't. It's just like the mission briefing is. I don't. It just had like a really good sound to it for me. It's like I'm losing my words on what I want to try and say, but
Hmm.
it's it has like this nice, like the like this militaristic, like you're at point A, you have to get to point B. Here's the information. It's the debrief, it's the briefing, and is I like that military or that yeah the military aspect of it.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. I mean, it goes without saying, mission briefing is obviously the perfect like feeling for this song. I get like if I were to close my eyes and not know this was Star Fox and you didn't tell me this was video game music, this to me sounds like it would have been in like a movie, like almost like a Star Wars, like the Republic is they're talking about the next mission or how they're gonna do the next assault. It's very much got that feeling to it. So I'm sure this is almost exactly what it's like in the game.
I'm glad you actually brought up the point about Star Wars, because my inspiration for the song was looking for a really Star Wars-y feel to it, and I think there's an interesting duality in this song. The drums kind of move the song along, and I think the flute to me represents the light side or the resistance, and then these really heavy brass notes are like the dark side or the Empire. Yeah,
it's almost got that like Imperial March to it, but it's also got like this we're gonna talk over the plan, like I can imagine like one of those split scenes where it's like half of the scene is like the people talking and the other half is like the enemies going through their like quote unquote Death Star or whatever giant space fortress this is.
Yeah, I liked the duality of it.
It was definitely a good pick. I really like this one. I can only imagine what this is like in game. Obviously, it's I wonder if it's like between every mission or if this is like a particular mission.
It's got me wanting to actually go and listen to the full soundtrack. Right now.
Yeah, and like Brandon mentioned, obviously, I think we both thought Corneria is such an iconic and amazing song from the original Star Fox, and every iteration of it is one of my favorite songs. But to me, it's not. Granted, it is Star Fox, so it is obviously space, but the actual Corneria, you're flying through a city, so I think both me and Brandon felt that there's better songs, and I'm glad you picked this one and not a well-known one.
Yeah, I almost went for Space Battleground, which is in Smash, and a couple other songs that had come up in Smash before, but this one stood out to me, and I really like the feel of it.
I like when we get to hear the ones that not everyone has heard already.
Yeah, because it's like with most albums for bands, you're never going to hear the full album on a radio when it comes out.
Oh no, you're going to hear like 2 of the 20 songs they produced on that album.
Exactly. So then, they're like, yeah, you might like those songs that they play, but you're never going to know what else is on there until you listen to the full thing, and you could find something that you like way more than what they've been playing.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's half of the whole theory behind this show is obviously we want to play some of the greats, so don't be wrong, we'll play Corneria eventually. It's an amazing video game song, but we also want to play those ones that you've never heard.
That's what we try to do. All right, so I'm going to propose this question to you both. My next song, I have 3 options right now, all from the same franchise, but on 3 different systems.
So I'm guessing you got a classic, a middle ground, and a newer.
I do. So it's so the first one is from the NES, the second is from the Game Boy Advance, and the last one is from the PS2.
You know me, I say go old school.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love hearing where it comes from.
Then I shall play the old school. So, Derek, you know how much I enjoy tossing out the Godzilla Domination music.
Oh yeah, I mean I've loved everyone you've played for us so far.
Well, this game, just called Godzilla King of the Monsters, which came out on the regular NES, it was a very particular, not super great game. But the music was actually pretty decent. So the title of this song is Solar System Japan.
All right, I like that title. It's a good title right there.
Right, it is. So what's interesting about the whole thing is the way that the map and stages were set up is literally the map is the solar system, and you're traveling from planet to planet.
That's pretty cool. It's
not explained why. It's just, you're Godzilla, here's space.
I mean, to be fair,
You're going from planet to planet.
it's the NES. You can't really fault the NES games for not having much story.
No, no. I mean, they could have given me like a little something, but no.
He wants to smash.
Yeah, he's gotta wreck it.
I gotta wreck it. Now, this game actually has there's a big meme that came from this. It was from like a creepypasta. If anyone feels like looking that up, you can, but I'm not going to talk about it. So this is Godzilla King of the Monsters, Solar System Japan, by Masatomo Miyamoto.
That was a banger, Matt. But I'll let Brennan take lead.
Well, I got something to say. I think that the name Solar System Japan is a little inaccurate. I think it should have been called Solar System Russia, because it sounded to me like a textbook like Russian ballet almost, like it had that two-step dance style to it. It was very Tchaikovsky.
That is actually true. I could hear that being some weird. I hate to jump to this when I think of Russian music, but that could have been some weird Tetris theme right there.
It was
Right?
It was real nutcrackery too. Almost.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed it out because I was thinking that, but I didn't know how to phrase that.
The other thing that gets me about this song is that, yeah, again, it's called Solar System Japan, but like this chunk right here, like that's literal, like straight from the films kind of music.
Yeah, it's interesting because like this is nowhere near what I was expecting when you said Solar System Japan. And I think Brandon felt the exact same on that.
Oh yeah.
I was expecting G Gundam, to be honest with you.
Man.
Though that being said, it's definitely a groovin'. I'm into it.
I mean, it definitely tries to drive it there. I love the little 3-tone there, where it's just like da da da. It's just like, okay, so here's the music. It's just like, I feel like they would scream Godzilla at this point, so I'll just do it in chip tone. Da, da, da. There we go.
That's probably what they were going for, because I mean, it's very hard to do simulated voice on an NES, and when you did, it did not sound that good. But yeah, I agree with Brandon. This definitely doesn't sound necessarily Japanese to me. I could certainly see this in Solar System Russia. And part of me wonders if maybe they got the location wrong, you know?
I don't know. I mean, they could have. I mean, because like going back to like the gameplay of the game is like literally. So it's just like, here's the solar system in like hex square in like hex panels. On the other end of the map is the boss, and on the other opposite side is you. And every time you go to a new square, you end up playing that level, which is the planet, by like shooting flying saucers and guns that just pop out of the ground.
Sounds very interesting.
I've played that game.
Yeah,
it's a weird one.
Yeah, I think Matt, I feel like I remember you and me playing this a really long time ago, and I think you showed this to me.
Yeah.
So, are the other stages like solar system, like Italy or something? Like, did Godzilla take a left turn at solar system Albuquerque?
No, you would think. No, it's like the other tracks in for the game are just like Earth theme, Mars, and it's just like, okay,
it's
so, like this is the wondrous music you get to listen to while you're trying to pick which hex you're gonna go to next.
Okay, so this is like the kind of world map theme.
Sure.
I guess. All right. Well, I think we all had fun with that one. For my next one, Matt, you played Godzilla, which is a giant monster. So I'm of course gonna kind of follow that up with a song from a McDonald's game.
Oh no, you didn't.
I'm gonna play a song from a McDonald's Treasureland Adventure.
Is it just space?
It is space. Did you pick this?
I did pick the.
How? I thought that was going to be such an obtuse pick that you would have surely never heard of this before. Oh, Matt, we're on some sort of wavelength over here. Brandon, do you know what this is? Do you have this on your list somehow?
Not even a little bit.
So this is a Sega Genesis game. It is called McDonald's Treasureland Adventure. And I've heard the whole soundtrack of this game. The whole thing. They're all bangers. They're incredible. Like, why does a McDonald's game have this good music? Man, I can't believe you have this too. That's baffling. But yeah, I bet you're really looking forward to surprising me with that.
Actually, yeah, I was hoping. I'm like, I don't think Derek will ever pick a McDonald's game song.
Got him. So yeah, this is composed by Akihata, and clearly I'm not gonna get to surprise you, Matt, but at least I get to surprise Brandon and all of our listeners. So yeah, this is a McDonald's game. Let's go. So, Brennan, since me and Matt have obviously already heard this song, and you're the only one who hasn't, why don't you tell us your thoughts on it?
I liked it. It definitely had that '80s movie energy, like a really Bill and Ted or Back to
Yeah.
the Future ish. I like the second half when they just throw all the sound effects at you. I like the wee wee's
Yeah.
in the background in the one part.
Yeah, I heard I don't remember what song and what podcast it was because I do listen to a few different video game inspired podcasts, and I heard a song from this game. I was like, "What McDonald's game?" And like, it wasn't this song, but it was another one, and I was like, "I gotta check this whole soundtrack," and the whole soundtrack is pretty much this good, so you gotta check it out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the crunchy note.
Yeah, this song is really really crunchy. Crunchy's a good word for it. It's so like it just throws sound effects at you, but they're not like in a bad way. It's really good. I love this part. The dun, 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 dun. I love that little groove right there.
No, and I agree with you, Brandon. This is like oozing '80s vibe.
Yeah. Oh man. And it's like it's so interesting. Like I would not, if you played this for me and said, "What game is this from?" Never in a million years would I have said McDonald's Treasureland Adventure. I love this
No.
backbeat. It's so good.
It's almost got it's almost like they're trying to do like a slap bass in there as well.
I think this is the part you were talking about, Brandon, with all the random sound effects.
Yeah, I like this part. I like the slowdown part too towards the end.
Yeah. That's the little refrain I like. It's so well composed. It's not like just a short like 20-second loop. It's pretty long, and the song has got like a lot of different like. It's not just like an A side and a B side. It's just like a whole. It's a journey. It's an adventure.
This is a one-sided cassette.
This is a Treasureland
this
adventure
part.
right here.
Yeah, I like this part a lot. Like the slow fall to the quick rise up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brandon, you're gonna have to check out the rest of this game's music because they're all pretty darn good. We, unfortunately, Sega Genesis is not something me and Matt and, by association, Brandon, have ever really played too much of because I don't think any of us owned this, but Genesis has got some great music and definitely some stuff we need to check out.
Definitely.
Alrighty. I feel like I need to bring a little heat now. So I'm going back to a type of game that you really don't see all that often nowadays. The horizontal scrolling shooter.
Okay.
Games like, or vertical scrolling shooter. When you think of games like Ikaruga or Raiden, all, typically you're flying a spaceship, shooting down monsters.
Yeah, like a flying shooter, bullet hell type.
Yeah, definitely. You see more bullet hells nowadays, but you don't see the old school like horizontal scrolling shooter nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Like your Galagas and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one actually I chose is R-Type. I chose the Super Nintendo version, R-Type 3 in particular. The subtitle of the game is The Third Lightning, which is just great.
That's pretty great,
Wow.
yeah.
So the song that I chose is it's just called Stage 3. The composer is Ikuko Mimori, and it's, again, from R-Type 3, The Third Lightning.
Again, I love that title. Jeez, that was a banger. You didn't tell me how good that was going in.
Yeah, I really like the 30-second bass solo.
Right? Right? I was like, geez, this is crunchy. I was so into it.
Yeah, it was just like right off the bat. I just love that grungy mess of a guitar.
Oh, it's so
It just
good.
kicked in.
I
Like,
really like the high synthesized rhythm guitar too.
yeah.
Mhm.
It first led with this, and I was like, okay, this isn't bad. And then this almost voice comes in, and as soon as the guitar kicked in, I was like, oh, that's good. I wasn't expecting the level of crunch on this one.
Yeah, it was tough picking an R-Type song. There's some brutal songs in there. The
Yeah.
Stage 1 song is almost as good. I had a tough time picking between them.
I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to some of these because I'm super into
Same.
this. This might hold my favorite track of the episode so far. That little refrain right there reminds me so much of Donkey Kong Country. The doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo.
That's what it was. I was sitting
Yeah.
there thinking, I'm like, man, why does it sound so familiar?
Yeah. It's got the doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, da-na-na-na-na-na, except it doesn't do the second part, obviously.
Yeah.
Man, I love this kind of slap bass, just grunge. Oh, this is a
And
good
what's
one.
in right now? Grungy guitar, and then Steinfeld it. For I don't know, like a solid 3 minutes, and then we're gonna get back into the guitar.
Oh man, this is a good pick, Brennan. This is like I said, I think this might be my favorite of the episode so far.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's so crunchy. And then this part, it suddenly drops into this. It takes you on a journey. And now I can't unhear that Donkey Kong Country in there. It's like the exact same little refrain. That groove is really good. And that part, calm down.
I was about to say, that's my favorite part. This.
Yeah. He's like, you mind if I hit this real quick? I just gotta go hard.
It's like he was trying to decide which way he wanted to go.
That was good. Alright, Matt, how you gonna follow that one?
Oh man, I don't think I have anything as pumped as that.
So, son, good luck following that one.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and go with this pick here. So earlier when we said that most RPGs keep you on the ground,
Yeah.
and then you threw in Final Fantasy IV. Well, that's good. That's nice.
I mean, some
But what
RPGs
about-
focus on space travel, so it certainly is a thing.
Exactly. Which is why I'm going to throw us into Star Ocean 3 till the end of time.
I was actually just about to say one that comes to mind. It literally has stars in the name, and you beat me to it with Star Ocean.
Man, that's funny. Star Ocean completely slipped my mind when I was picking out songs for this episode.
Yeah,
And I love Star Ocean.
yeah, that certainly happens.
Yeah, I was it was a hard pick for me. I didn't know if I wanted to do Star Ocean: The Second Story because, well, it's a classic and probably the most highly regarded one in my opinion. But I thought, well, let me go a little bit more newer, and I decided to go with Till the End of Time.
I believe that's the Star Ocean that I've played the most of. But what's the track, Matt?
So the track is called Mission to the Deep Space.
That certainly fits the theme name, I would say.
It is. Till the End of Time was composed by Motoi Sakuraba.
Yes, I'm a big Sakuraba fan. That saxophone groove at the end was going hard.
The saxophone's my favorite part throughout the whole thing.
I was gonna say there's an interesting answer and call format to the song where the guitar would do a section and then the trumpet or the sax would answer.
Yeah, I always really like that when I hear that in songs. The the whole answer and call just thing in general.
Well, you see it a lot in jazz songs, which is why I got this. There was a nice little jazz rock element to the song that I liked.
I was actually gonna say it's got a really good like jazzy feel to it.
Good old- I don't know why I'm just like every time I hear the word jazzy, I always immediately think of DJ Jazzy Jeff, and I'm just like, no, Matt, stop.
Oh jeez. I love
That's
this
just-
saxophone. It's
That's
so
just
good.
a personal thing that always happens to me.
I don't know if that's hilarious or unfortunate or both.
Well, I get to think about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air again, so
That's fair.
It shows a good range of Motoi Sakurabas when you contrast this to like the Eternal Sonata soundtrack.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
oh, definitely.
I love Sakuraba as a composer. One of my favorites.
It's probably my second favorite.
I've actually I mean, Nobu is one of the definitely probably the first composer I learned like his name, but recent years I think Sakuraba just there's so many games that I just really like the sound, and I'm always like, oh yeah, that's Sakuraba. Like it's very consistent. Like either favorite or definitely top 3.
Yeah, I mean it's for me. Yasunori Mitsuda is my personal favorite, but Motoi's right sneaking up right behind him.
Yeah, I love Mitsuda.
Yeah, I have such a love-hate relationship with Till the End of Time, just because I remember playing it and I got stuck on like the first planet for real world time, literally a month.
That's
Because I was going through a dungeon because like apparently I missed like a text dialogue of saying, hey, you need to go back the way you came to go fight the dragon riders. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And when I left the city after doing a bunch of crafting and side quest stuff, I was like, crap, where was I supposed to go? Who was I supposed to talk to again? I'm like, oh wait, yeah, duh, I'll just leave the city, I'll go this way. That's right, there's a little dungeon over here. That's obviously where I gotta go next. And I was stuck in this puzzle block dungeon forever. And then
that's hilarious.
I got so frustrated, I gave up on the game for a couple of months, came back to it later, and then realized that what I had to do was, instead of, so like if I'm leaving the city and I went north to this dungeon, I was actually just supposed to go east back to the town before the city and go through the mine again. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I did that. And then the next 3 to the final boss fight of that planet, I one-shot it.
That's hilarious.
I was like, whoops.
And the Star Ocean games, they have this unfortunate tendency to like throw you in the most boring part of the game right at the start. Like Star Ocean 3, you're like in Hyrule Field at the start of the game, and then you know, a few hours in, it throws you into the deep end, into the crazy stuff. And I feel like all the Star Ocean games have a tendency to do that.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably why
Is that?
I never
they definitely have like a power creep that shows up instantly.
They certainly do, yeah. That's probably why I've always liked the Tales of games more than Star Ocean, even though they're very similar in a lot of ways. One of them being Sakuraba as the composer, which is probably why I like Sakuraba so much, is because Tales is just one of my favorite series. But that song in particular, I was super into the jazz feeling and the saxophones in particular.
It gave me a feeling of a reminiscent feeling of old like space related animes like
Cowboy Bebop.
Bebop or Outlaw Star.
Yeah, I could see that. I could certainly see that. Well, Matt, I think I'm going to take you on a very different sort of feeling to to that. So Sonic games, a lot of those feature space in kind of a weird way.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of options when it comes to Sonic and space, which seems weird, but it's interestingly enough a theme in many games, and in particular Sonic Adventure 2. I've played songs from this before, but space is actually like almost a third of the game, which is weird. Like you're on a space station, the villains are on a space station. They convert part of the moon into a giant laser cannon, which is bizarre. But I mean, when isn't Sonic bizarre?
No, you're not wrong.
So I was going through this game stood out to me because of like a good like out of the 20 something stages, like 7 of them are space themed. So it's like almost a third of the game. So I had a lot of options. The one I went with it's called Cosmic Wall, and I think you're gonna like this one.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
But before we get started, Brandon, what are your thoughts on Sonic in space?
Well, you know my feelings towards the Adventure 2 series, or Adventure in general.
Yeah, they're weird. They hold a certain nostalgia in my heart.
Too many chow.
Yeah. I don't know the exact composer. There are a lot of composers to the game, but the lead composer is Jun Senoue, but it could also have been composed by Kenichi Takoi, Fumi Kumatama, or Tomoya Otani. So this is Cosmic Wall from Sonic Adventure 2. So Brandon, with your stigma against SA2, why don't you tell me how you like that song?
I thought it was really good. I like the disc scratch breakdown a lot,
Right?
and it was almost like the general beat was almost like disco-y.
Yeah, yeah. And the full title for the this track is actually Soarin', not soaring, it's Soarin' over the space, which is just it would be
Over the space?
over Soarin' over the space. Yes.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
But I really like the general just like the general groove to it, and that disc scratch like you're mentioning. I think that's just so interesting.
That's definitely my favorite part.
I like the that like the clap noise in there. That How about you, Matt?
The clapping rhythm that's in there kind of reminds me of
Final Fantasy VIII,
yeah, Man with a Machine Gun.
right? I knew it would. How about your thoughts on the overall song?
Yeah, well, the song I like it. I mean, it's compared to some of the other songs that show up in that game, it's not as driving. I
Yeah.
mean, it's yeah.
That game's got a.
Because I mean, there's definitely
unique.
some other songs in there that are more, I guess, try to be as like alt rock as they can, as it can.
The Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack in general is very polarizing. It's because it's interesting, like because there's 6 characters. Basically, there's the Hedgehogs, Sonic and Shadow, and they have their own music, like sound. And then they have the 2 explorers on each side, Rouge for the dark and Knuckles for light side, and their music is weird. And then there's Tails and Eggman, and they both pilot a robot because why not?
Yeah.
And this is a Robotnik or Eggman stage, and you're basically like on the outside of this giant space colony, and you're using the new hover ability to you jump up and you start hovering, and due to the weird gravity, the hover actually makes you fly upwards for a bit. So you're basically climbing this gigantic fortress, and then the second half of the stage you're going down it, which is why it's called Cosmic Wall.
We have to get to this fortress by scaling it and then descending it.
Like I said, the Sonic Adventure 2 is just kind of it's a weird game in a lot of ways. Music direction is certainly one of them. Go listen to any Knuckles stage and you'll know what I mean.
Hey,
The
speaking
hip-hop.
of which, yeah, the hip hop. Speaking of Knuckles stage, I've discovered that there's a road that I pass now on my new work route, and it's called Pumpkin Health.
That's amazing. There's that record scratch. I love it.
Knowing that this is a Robotnik stage definitely puts it in a little bit more context for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, the composer does a good job. Each of the characters has their own feel to their music, so you can certainly you can hear that that's kind of Robotnik. Like, it's not like the whole soundtrack to the game is bad. It's just weird. It's different. It's executed well, though, I think. All right, I took us a little foray into Sonic. Believe it is your go again, Brandon.
Well, I was thinking of 2 different songs to follow that up. One of them is a little creepy, and the other one is a song with lyrics, and I think I'm going to go with that one.
Okay.
So, this game is called Warframe. You probably are pretty familiar with it. It's a free-to-play game
Yeah.
on the PS4, it's on the PC, and it's on the Xbox One.
Yeah, I know you were pretty into this. I never got too into it myself, but I watched you play this a lot. I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
I
a
ever
fun
heard
game.
it though.
No, I rarely played the music from it, but there's some really interesting tracks on it. The one that I chose is actually it's an intro to when you get to a new area. This area is on Venus. You land, and it's basically a debt internment mining colony, and the people who work there, they all have cybernetic limbs.
That's
And
that's
if
neat.
they, well, the interesting thing is that when they stop working or if they, revolt, then their limbs get repossessed by the person they're working for.
That's
Oh
crazy.
God.
That's really like dystopian awesome though. Not for them, but like from a writing standpoint, that's really cool.
Sorry, Chuck. You just took too long on your break this time.
Yeah,
Gonna
you
have
couldn't pay your dues, so we're gonna repossess your arm or your head.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, so the song that I'm gonna play is actually it's like a mining shanty chant, and it plays whenever you first get to this area, and it kind of introduces the people you're gonna be working for.
I'm excited for this. What's the name?
So the song is called "We All Lift Together," and the composer is Keith Power.
All right.
Keith Power.
Cold, the air and water flowing hard, the land we call our home. Push to keep the dark from coming, feel the weight of what we owe. This, the song of sons and daughters, hide the heart of who we are. Making peace to build a future, strong, united, working till we fall. The air and water flowing hard, the land we call our home. Push to keep the dark from coming, feel the weight of what we owe. This, the song of sons and daughters, hide the heart of who we are. Making peace to build a future, strong, united, working till we fall. And we all lift, and we're all adrift together, through the cold mist, till we're lifeless together.
That was really good.
I'm probably gonna say this is probably my favorite.
I was gonna say this may have actually just overtaken as my favorite too. That I was really into the lyrics. Due to it being a lyrical song, I'm not gonna play it in the background just because it's awkward to talk over. But one, I really liked the rhythm. I like how the mind picks were kind of the bass, and I thought the lyrics were really well written too.
Yeah, I like some particular lines, like feeling the weight of what we owe in the context of what you're seeing whenever you get there.
I like the we're all adrift together too. I've mentioned it to Matt, and we've played some other songs that do the same thing. But I always love when like atmospheric noises, like the picks or like the shuffling around, plays the role of the music. That's one of my favorite things that just any music in general does. Like when the atmosphere or the people are playing the rhythm to the song.
I like that a lot as well.
Yeah, it just adds like a next level to the music when it's not just when it's an object that's not an instrument
Yeah,
per se that aids in the overall flow.
like when we played the song Zavhert from Tales of Graces. That's the very like Russian industrial city, and like the bass and almost the whole soundtrack is like the banging and the clanging of the pipes and the metal. I just really like when games or movies or any music in general, just I love that feeling to songs.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just the overall feel of the song, having it be like that folksy kind of like blues, like that for me is what made this song high up there for me, is because that's like a genre that I really enjoy.
Yeah. Especially because it's like a separate subset where it's like space blues too, which actually comes around more often than you'd think in like media and stuff.
Yeah,
I guess a
speaking of
robot
Cowboy
would have to
Bebop,
be crazy to be a folk singer.
Brandon, what'd you say?
I said, yeah, speaking of Cowboy Bebop, that's all like space blues.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
It's an interesting. It's funny how often space and blues comes up, but I guess a lot of things do the certain like, adrift and lost people kind of folksy feeling. It's just like it makes sense. Like if society ever gets to the point where we're traveling space, just like there's derelict and homeless people, obviously there would be those same people out in space, and it's just a trope that works.
I like the feeling of like they're definitely, it's a beaten down song, but there's some hopefulness to it. I like the chorus for that reason in particular, and I like how the voices basically grow as the song goes on. It keeps adding more to them.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like the feeling of like if this was a movie, there'd be solemn people and they'd all be dragging their feet, and then one person starts clanging to it, and one person starts singing, and then everyone's clanging and everyone's singing along.
Yeah, I mean it's, like as like the mind. I mean it's like also kind of like like a scene from a movie or like a chain gang.
Yeah, that's 100% the feeling I was getting at, is like a chain gang like being dragged through the mines. Brandon's got some great picks. I know you said you were researching this episode for a while. Definitely did your homework on this one.
Yeah, I put my work in.
And it definitely shows, because I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, Warframe in general has some excellent music to it. A lot of it is more like action paced, because the game in general, you're playing as a space ninja wizard. So
yeah,
you're jumping around, you're casting like spells, throwing fire, and so the game it's high BPM for the most part. But I like some of these interesting contrasts.
That's certainly interesting. I really like. It sounds like what you described as a really, really unique and interesting set piece.
Yeah, it's an interesting theme of, and there's similar things in sci-fi like Repo, the genetic opera.
Yeah,
is about repossessing organs. But, so it's not unheard of, but it's an interesting take, and the overlords are like people who are like greedy and driven by wealth, so they're just working people to the bone.
It's certainly dystopian future. All right, Matt. The question is your next one going to be dreary, or is the next one going to lift our spirits after that?
Well, I'm going through. I mean, I definitely have one that's a little bit more uplifting, but the next one it's not going to be a dreary one. It's a good tune. It's going to be fun, and I feel like I would be wrong if I didn't include it in a space episode. And the game that I picked is Ratchet and Clank.
That makes sense. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's about space. I mean, he wanted to be basically like a space ranger.
Yeah.
So the name of the song that I picked is Nebula G34 Clank in Space by David Bergode.
And I just want to say, this didn't occur to me at first, but the space episode has a lot of ridiculous names for the songs.
I mean, because it's going to be either named after like planets or like space stations
or like some sort of alien name.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to this space station.
over and hit the restart on that. The very start in particular reminds me so much of Magus's Castle from Chrono Trigger before the beat really kicks in. Like just the single note one. This here. Just all I can think of is Magus's Castle at the start, but I really like how it just kind of is a building rhythm.
Yeah, I hear what you mean with that one like long held note.
Yeah. Just a series of, I don't know what you would call this instrument. Bell.
Yeah, something like that. It's a really interesting theme. I like the the alien quality, just
The little laser fuse that shooting off there.
and it's
I like
and it's
the breakdown when it kicks in here in a little bit.
I like that whistle or the flute coming in.
Mhm.
It's got a lot.
Yeah, it's a steady build that goes up for a good minute.
I can hear that breakdown. I like the wibblies, the.
I was gonna say I like the wobble.
That beginning
It's
Matt
funny.
had our favorite, the rubber band noise in there too.
Yep.
It's funny, whenever I was picking out, thinking up songs or games for the space episode, I didn't think of Ratchet and Clank at all. My roommate, Jake, actually, he was like, Ratchet and Clank, and I was like, yeah, that actually fits perfectly.
Yeah, it's funny how when we're doing these episodes, because we get some comments too, and people are like, hey, what about this one? I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's one thing we always ask our listeners to do. If there's one that you know, it was the first one in your mind and we somehow didn't address it, definitely tell us, because it slips your mind, and we love to hear the ones that you guys thought of first. If it wasn't, DuckTales
Yeah,
the Moon, that is.
No, that's everyone right now. Is like, well, I thought of the moon from DuckTales. I mean, that's it. You got it.
How could you not? This is a really good one, man. I like it's so weird. It's kind of like, it's not quite like Final Fantasy IV the Moon weird, but it's up there.
Yeah, I enjoyed the again, like the little ambient sounds, like the laser shooting sound effect, the wibbly. Is it really helps build up, okay, this is like an alien world, and it has like this, not necessarily like a danger feel to it, but it's like a, hey, you should be on guard while you're trying to do exploration.
Yeah, and I like the second half. Of course, the wibblies again, but this feels like an enemy spotted you and you better hide or you better fight back, kind of sort of deal. It's got that flighty sound.
Yeah, because I mean, there's several points in the game where Ratchet can't actually do he's like, well, I can't go into this area, so literally Clank just hops off your back and you take control of him.
Yeah. This is one of those things that I think just completely skipped my mind when it came to space games.
Yeah, like I said, I would have felt wrong if I didn't include Ratchet and Clank in a space episode.
Well, that was a good pick. So yeah, getting late. We've each played quite a few different songs. I've actually got 3 that I'm sitting on. I kind of went with Brandon and Matt kind of went with the interesting, the game revolves around space, where my theory to this episode was I want to play games we've heard of that might have surprising space sections to it. So the 2 I want to give a shout out to is Tetris Attack. We've played a lot of that. There's a moon stage, that's Raphael the Ravens. That's his area, and it's not necessarily out of space, but his whole theme is the moon, so I thought that was a good one, and I really liked the rhythm to that. I also had Kirby on here. Now, Kirby has a lot of different space options throughout the whole series, but the one I was leaning on was from Kirby's Air Ride. Both the top ride light theme and the Nebula Belt racetrack.
I was thinking about the Nebula Belt.
Yeah, and
I was going to say, Katie actually reminded me that the Crystal Shards is all about traveling to different planets, kind of like Milky Way Wishes.
Yeah,
I didn't remember that at all.
Yeah, and I also had Milky Way Wishes, just the Soaring the Galaxy theme. Kirby has a lot of actually space options. Space travel is what he does all the time. It's hard to remember that sometimes. But the song I'm gonna play for my last one is Matt. You remember Diddy Kong Racing, right?
Yeah.
You remember how I told you there's four levels basically, and each of those kind of levels / worlds have 4 stages.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I hid a part of the game to you because basically once you play through all the 4 things, you fight the boss, you race the bosses, then you do the silver challenges and race the bosses again, and you do the last boss. Secret fifth section opens up, and it's you basically take a rocket up into the sky, and they're all space themed levels, and it's like a secret 5th section to the game.
Not just a rocket, it's a lighthouse rocket.
It is in fact a lighthouse rocket, yeah. You take the lighthouse has been a set piece that whole time, and after you play through the story once, the lighthouse is now a rocket, and there's more to the story. But but yeah, all of these levels are all space themed, and all of them have some pretty great rhythms. I was between 2, the Dark Moon Cavern, and the one I'm gonna play is Star City. So this is Diddy Kong Racing, Star City, composed by David Wise.
Ooh.
I really think the second half to that song carries that space feeling when the like adventurousness and the adventurousness part pops in.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. That there's never a song from Diddy Kong Racing that I haven't heard that hasn't just like
Slapped.
made me smile. Well, no, like made me smile because I mean it's like I have a good time listening to the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's the whole soundtrack kind of makes you just want to bob your head and smile.
It's a bopping song for sure.
It really is.
It
Definitely.
just makes you bob up and down.
But pretty much every song from Diddy Kong Racing does that.
When it gets into the fast beat, it's almost like Feck Xanadu-esque, like right at the start when it's like da na 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 na.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can
Oh,
hear
yeah.
that. This
Right
this part
here.
right here, yeah. I think this is the part that really has that space feeling to it. This is like a mysterious kind of otherworldly part right here. Then it just kind of gets back into that
Space
bouncy space banjo.
That's what I hear when.
I figured we've enjoyed some Diddy Kong Racing, and as I mentioned, this whole like secret half of the game is all space. So I was like, you know what, I should play one of these. This seems right. And there's that weird little like almost buzzing noise back there. Did you hear? Did you hear that?
That almost sounds like the was it the twisting part on a bop it?
The little that little sound effect that kicks in every few seconds is so weird to me. It almost sounds like wheezing.
Yeah, that or like someone got like a deck of cards and did the thing where they put one between their thumbs and just like.
Oh, it's like Bridget.
Yeah. And it only does it like 5 times and it's only in that one section, but it's like so random. I wonder why that's in there.
It's like a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is so interesting because, like, David Wise has a lot of. I think he's most well known for, Donkey Kong Country, but he has some great tracks in Diddy Kong Racing. I love this just second half to the song, though.
Yeah, they're going pretty heavy with that drum beat right there.
Mm-hmm. I love this part. It's like a very tinny piano. It's like almost xylophone sounding, but not quite. I don't know what to call it. Where's the deck of cards noise?
There's the rattlesnake.
But I like that, like the tinny sounding piano. I just don't know what to call that instrument at all.
Isn't that called like a harpsichord? Or am I wrong?
That probably is a harpsichord. Yeah, that escaped me completely. The drum is so driving in this game. In this song in particular.
I like how the rhythm, like the rhythm of the drums, like it's like a steady beat, and then all of a sudden there's like, and then back to the steady beat again.
Right? It's such a weird sound effect. I don't know, but I like it. It's odd.
I think it's somebody with emphysema just exhaling.
David Wise is composing the song, and that his mic just picked up. He's like, wait, do that noise again.
Using lung disease as a musical instrument.
I mean, hey, work with what you got, I guess. So Brandon, it's your last track of the episode. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what your honorable mentions are for this one?
Well, I have a few. I mentioned Blaster Master at the start of the episode. In particular, like, I know everybody knows the Stage 1 theme. It's one of the staples in video game music, but
Yeah.
when I was listening to the soundtrack, there's some really good songs that I'd actually never heard from the game. Like stage 5 is exceptional. Stage 7 is almost like a punk rock song. It was going to be one of my choices. Stage 2 is extremely good as well. I don't know if you played it during the mini game episode, but Andy Asteroids from Earthworm Jim was one of my choices.
Oh man, maybe the next
forget
minigame
about
episode.
Earthworm Jim.
I thought about it, and I was like, that's in space. That's the part of the only part of the game that's, I guess, in space. But it's a mini game. You're just flying through space chasing a chicken.
Why? Who knows? But it's awesome.
The entire soundtrack to No Man's Sky, which is unfortunately licensed, but it's all amazing, and I definitely recommend. If you like space, like rock in general, I heartily recommend that. It's by the band 65 Days of Static.
I actually had a No Man's Sky on my list, but when I found out there was a license, I was like, maybe I should just hold off on that one.
Unfortunately, yeah.
The entire soundtrack is amazing, and I listen to that band in general. I listen to a lot of that music, and there's a couple other bands, Saxon Shore and God is an Astronaut, that are both really worth checking out if you're into that sort of music. But the final song that I chose, I feel like it would be remiss if I didn't go to a kind of a creepy part, because Matt put out the Alien song, which was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I need to respond with something similarly creepy. So I chose a song from Dead Space.
Yes.
There you go.
I chose the opening, the Dead Space theme. The composer is Matt Graves, and again, it is the Dead Space theme from Dead Space 1.
All right.
And this was actually one of the first picks on my list.
Nice.
Matt, you're getting tracks stolen left and right.
Hey. That means I get to play other things, though.
That's true. Yeah, I think space and creepy could not have been. I don't think you can portray that any better than Dead Space.
No, this game is probably for me my favorite in like the sci-fi survival horror.
It's it's one I never played personally, but I watched people play it a lot.
Yeah. Once I get done with my playthrough of Alien Isolation, I'm gonna do a playthrough of Dead Space because my wife owns Dead Space. She bought it back when it
Also,
first came out,
also too
and
scared to play it.
she never got past just like getting on the Ishimura. And she's like, nope, can't do it anymore. I'm done.
It's like when I was playing through Resident Evil 4, and the first time I saw Regenerators, me and a friend of mine were playing through the game. We were like, let's not play this and go order a pizza for a little while and just take a hard pass for about an hour.
Let's just take a break and let's collect ourselves before we go back to the Doom thing.
I like I like the creepiness that this evokes. That's like what it makes me feel like is sometimes if you're out in space and you take a distress call, if you go to a space station, sometimes everybody is either A, dead, or B, missing, which is somehow worse.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and like,
I mean, you would think, oh, he's just missing, but and then like, oh, well, dead's very bad. But if it's just missing, you're just like,
what happened?
well, what happened?
right.
Yeah, yeah, like it's like, well, if there's a bunch of dead bodies, at least we know, these guys are here. But if there's no bodies, you're like, what? So, where did they go?
And it hits just all the normal horror movie high notes for me, like those little mid-song twinklies, like just to set you on nerve, and like those nails on chalkboard, long high notes.
Yeah, those long screeching strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game had a lot of wonderful ambience to it for me. Like when you'd be walking around in like an area with like there's something like hanging from the ceiling, and then like you just hear like the sound of like either like a wrench or like just like some sort of metal piece that would just fall, and you just immediately just like, oh god, you're flipping around like, okay, no, that was nothing.
Dead
and
Space.
Then you take one step and then you're attacked.
Yeah, Dead Space is, I think, the game that made everyone start doing body checks.
It was a necessity.
Yeah, you're like, because you had the telekinesis. You're like, okay, if I can move it, it's not gonna attack me. Oh man, when I first heard about Dead Space, the thing that came to my mind was like, Super Metroid: The Wrecked Ship. Like, what if that was a whole game?
Like, this song in general makes me really wish there was some kind of a first-person survival horror Metroid game.
Oh man, it'd be terrifying. Well, to be fair, Prime 1, when you first go to the Frigate Orpheon, it's honestly pretty creepy. I mean, it's not quite Dead Space level because it's still a Metroid game. It's a game aimed for young adults or not quite kids, but in that range. So it's certainly not horror, but it has some spook to it. And if they made a full game of that style, that would just be all the right buttons.
Yeah, they always have those little creepy parts, like you said, the wrecked ship and Super Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a nightmare in
Fusion.
Fusion.
Yeah, the wrecked ship in Frigate Orpheon is the very start of Metroid Prime, and as soon as you get there, you're seeing like space parts that like are being experimented on. And it's pretty spoopy.
I know another thing I love about Dead Space is the AI of the enemies I thought was done pretty well.
Yeah.
But the game actually almost didn't make it due to a lot of AI issues with the hallway tentacle monster.
That's interesting. I didn't know that little bit of trivia.
Yeah, it was all the work that went into doing that particular fight. Essentially, there was a lot that went into it that almost like the game almost didn't make it because it was like there's no way we can do this.
Hmm. That's interesting to know.
Yeah, and it proved to be for me definitely one of the most powerful moments in the game because it's just like, cool, you just got done dealing with all that stuff. Here's your save point and maybe some ammo, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. You step through the door, then like around the corner, here's giant anaconda necromorph thing, and it's just gonna slam you and drag you down the hallway. You better shoot it. You better shoot it in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people died to that. One, not because not knowing what to do, and two, just because sheer like shock and fear. But Matt, it's it's about that time. It is that time.
It is that time.
We are there. And as we do, one, thank you, Brandon, for being on this episode.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
You've brought a lot of really good tracks to us tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And thank you everyone for listening. Tell us what your favorite was. I know Brandon had some really good picks in there, but we want to know which one you liked the most, and tell us which one came to your mind when we said space, and which one we didn't think of because there's still a lot out there. Let us know what one you would have liked hearing.
All right. Well, I guess some of my honorable mentions. I was going back to the Dead Space pick. I was actually thinking about doing either the theme or the song that plays entering 0G when you first come across that point in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of my picks was from Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It was in the after story where you get Rayquaza and then you fly into space to fight Deoxys.
As you do.
But the song that I picked to go ahead and end us on is from Mass Effect.
That is another genre that I personally never owned, but I've again seen Mass Effect played a lot, and I know the stories and the music is really good to this series.
Yeah, I never got to play Mass Effect 1. I did play a little bit of 3, but I've been wanting to go back and literally just play through 1 and 2 all the way to get the full experience.
I didn't play them very much, but they were on my list of games to just listen to the soundtrack to because I know they have excellent music.
Yeah, from what I was going through, I could have picked a couple from 2, but I thought why not go ahead and stick with the original. But the song that I picked was the name of it's the name of the ship, the Citadel.
Okay.
It was a pleasure. I'd like to do it again.
All right, we'd be happy to have you. Matt, close us out.
All right, here we go. This is the Citadel from Mass Effect, composed by Jack Wall and Richard Jacques.